And for everyone who joined us, mahalo nui. My name is Lily Makaila. I'm one of the planners in the planning office. I'll be helping to facilitate this evening's beneficiary consultation. I want to mahalo everyone again for your time. Thank you so much for being here with us this evening. We are using the meeting chat as our virtual sign-in. Before the meeting is over, if you wouldn't mind sharing your first and last name, and also whether you are a DHHL beneficiary, if you're a lessee, applicant, both, or other, and also if you're wearing multiple hats and representing other organizations and would like to share that as well, please do so in the chat box. We also have the question and answer tab enabled. And so let me scoot the slide over. So this is our meeting purpose. We're here to gather mana'o from you folks about Ōpua Community Development Corp's land use request for a preschool that would be located on DHHL lands in Kealakehe. We're going to be answering questions and taking comments and whatnot at the end of the presentation. We'll do our best to do a rapid presentation and save as much time as possible for discussion. If you have questions, kind of burning questions, feel free to drop them in the question and answer box. If we're able to answer it kind of during the presentation, I'll do my best to do so. If I'm not able to kind of answer it, or it might take a longer answer, then we'll bring it up kind of first thing in the question answer period, discussion period at the end. So to access that, it's just in the tabs. You can open the question answer just like how you would open the chat box. I'm going to move on to our next slide. So a couple housekeeping things. Just a reminder, I have pretty much everybody is muted. So mahalo for keeping your microphone muted during the presentation. Again, we will be taking questions and comments at the end, but feel free to put any questions or comments that you might have in the question answer pane, and I'll do my best to get to those during. Also, please keep in mind this meeting is recorded. We will be posting a copy of this recording up on the project website so that folks who are not able to join us this evening but would like to watch the presentation and hear some of the discussion are able to do so. And then again, just if you wouldn't mind signing in the chat box before the meeting is over. Mahalo. Meeting kuleana. So I'll get through this real quickly. I'm sure that it won't be an issue this evening. We just want to give a few quick reminders. Please make sure that all of us are respectful of whomever is speaking and presenting this evening. If you wouldn't mind, please wait for a facilitator to call on you during the discussion period. I'll go over that again once it gets closer to the time. And again, if you have burning questions that you want to get out there before you forget, feel free to drop into the question and answer pane. I'll be monitoring that throughout the presentation. Just a reminder to treat everyone respectfully, show aloha, make sure that we're treating others kindly, especially if we are not sharing the same mana'o. Let's all agree to disagree. We may not all kako'o the same mana'o, and that is okay. And we're also asking that everybody please have an open mind and be open to kind of hearing new information and taking home new ideas. Our beneficiary consultation policy, which was approved by the Hawaiian Homes Commission, indicates that a beneficiary consultation is required for 4 different types of proposals that require Hawaiian Homes Commission approval. So one would be statewide policy changes or policy issues, amendments to land use designations, which is like the kind of zoning that DHHL uses for its lands, development of any DHHL plans, like the regional plans or the island plans, and also long-term use of DHHL land for a non-homesteading purpose, so not for residential homesteads or the 99-year homestead leases. And because this is a land use request for a non-homesteading purpose, which would be the preschool, that is the reason why we are offering this beneficiary consultation this evening. We'll cover kind of next steps with what happens with all the mana'o that we gather towards the end of this presentation. So we've kind of already done our welcome, and I introduced myself. I'll ask we should have two other presenters, Uncle Bo and Ina. So if they can just give a brief introduction when it's their time to present, we can do it that way. Tonight, we're gonna dive right into the presentation by Ōpua Community Development Corp and their consultant. And as soon as that presentation is pau, we're gonna get right into collecting beneficiary mana'o on the request. We'll have our discussion period. And then once that's pau, then we can do a quick wrap up and I'll discuss next steps, what happens with all the mana'o that we gather this evening. Does anyone has any questions, feel free to drop it in the question answer pane. I'll also be monitoring the chat box as well. We have a couple folks who are joining us right now, but otherwise I'm going to turn it over to Uncle Bo. Uncle Bo, I can stop share. If you want to unmute, Uncle Bo.
Yeah, okay. I unmuted myself, and thank you, the department. I think for the purpose of moving forward, if Lily, both you and Andrew could introduce yourself before we go further.
Sure, I'll do a quick introduction. Aloha, everyone. My name is Lily Maka'ila. I'm a planner in the planning office. Andrew is my boss. I just joined the department last year and I'm very happy to be here. My primary kuleana is serving homesteaders on Hawaii Island and helping to facilitate projects and beneficiary consultations on Hawaii Island. But I do kako'o with other projects on other islands as well. Mahalo, everyone.
Aloha, my name is Andrew Choi. I am the planning program manager at the department, and I've been at the department for close to 10 years, and just good to see some familiar faces and names in the meeting tonight. So thank you for taking the time to meet with us this evening.
Okay, thank you for that, Lily and Andrew. I think what I want to do is just give some context to how we got here.
Oh boy, you muted yourself.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yes.
I want to start by just briefly putting some historical context to how we got here. In 2008, a group of us formed through the Homesteaders Association, Ōpua 2020. Ōpua 2020 was instrumental in the creation of a master plan, the Ōpua Community Development Master Plan. And we won't go right into, this is Ina's participation video. If I'm not going to go through that right now, but and during that time, we took a lot of mana'o from the community to bring that master plan to fruition. The master plan was adopted in 2009 by the Department of Hawaiian Homelands. So if you can go back online, you'll find the 2009 master plan, which also included the preschool at that time. So this goes back all the way to 2009. We're in 2023, so you can tell how long it took for us to get here. Secondly, in 2011, Kamehameha Schools was very interested in bringing the preschool to fruition and conducted a feasibility study. And during that time, we felt confident that Kamehameha Schools was going to bring a preschool to our community, serving our community. Their mission is to bring education to meet, to serve the beneficiaries. So we thought that was a great partnership. Latter, in 2000, maybe 13 and 14, Kamehameha Schools decided not to build any preschools at that time. They for reasons of their own. I can only speculate that one of the reasons was their preference policies would have been at risk. I've heard that on many occasions, and I can understand that. That's really an important element of how Kamehameha Schools serve their beneficiaries. When they pulled out, it's taken me some time to, and our Laiupo CDC, our board members include Dora Ayo, Sam Walker, Charlene Kahumoku, and myself. And it's taken us a while to bring this preschool initiative before you. We had initiated our contact with Architects Hawaii Limited almost 4 years ago. And maybe Ina can correct me if it was then but we started almost 4 years ago. We wanted to see a plan evolve. And we applied for funding. We didn't get it at that time. But currently, Architects Hawaii and Laiupo CDC, along with the Lieutenant Governor's Office, we're hoping to bring this initiative to fruition. And that is, my hope is tonight is to get your mana'o regarding what we will be presenting tonight. In addition, I want to add a few more comments. In July 28th, 2021, the department, Kamehameha Schools, had a beneficiary consultation regarding the Keaukaha preschool there at Keaukaha. I find some of the statistics very significant. When you look at the community, the enrollment for the preschool, they were at 96% enrollment. 97% over 3 years were Native Hawaiian children. 91% had full or partial financial aid. So that's significant because there was support for the kids that were going to the Keaukaha preschool. And little surprising, but 20 to 30% of the enrollment were direct beneficiaries from the Keaukaha community. So that might change, in our community, no telling. And I'd like to add maybe just another comment, couple more comments. What is the benefit to our beneficiaries? How is this going to benefit our beneficiaries? I think it provides the high quality preschool, with a culture-based preschool experience that support the development of the whole child. When we talk about our kamali in the preschool, we're not talking just about the social aspect, the cultural aspect, the education, but it's the whole child. And in that, we look to support connections to our culture with our kamali'i, provide academic readiness for kindergarten. So this is a real hand-up opportunity for our keikis. Offer and send social and emotional well-being of our keiki and ohana. So this program is intended to do that. This preschool It hopes to be affordable and accessible preschool education in our community at Ōpua Homestead Association and the broader community. Offer full-day preschool program for working ohana. Our preschool staff will participate and engage with other preschool so that we can better ourselves and use, I think, elements of success from other preschools. And then lastly, this is a preschool. This preschool is a public charter school and supported by the DOE, in which there'll be an agreement with the Department of Education, the State Department of Education, to include an agreement to maintain the facilities as well. So, in conclusion, my hope, and it's always been my dream, all my children went to preschool. I think their success begins at the very young age. And in my own mind, my children are successful. They don't do drugs. They have good jobs. 3 or 4 own their home. So I really strongly believe in preschool education, giving our kids that opportunity. With that said, and I know many of you might have plenty of questions, but I'll entertain the questions later on as part of this format. And I thank you for the opportunity to share. Mahalo.
Mahalo, Uncle Bo. Ina, were you gonna pick up the presentation?
Yes, I apologize. Maybe you saw me clicking through the screen. I believe that Dan probably wasn't able to find the meeting link as well. So if as I'm going through this presentation, if someone could email him the Zoom link, that would be really appreciated.
Sure,
I
can
know
do.
he wanted
Go ahead
to
and
be
get
part of
started,
this
Ina.
meeting.
Yep.
Okay. So these are some slides that I prepared for Uncle Bo's portion of the presentation. So I'm going to just skip through these slides. Starting with this one, we're really excited to be part of the team led by Bo and Samuel Walker. And then from our side, from AHL, principal in charge is Dan Sullivan. Terry McFarland has been involved. He has over 40 years of experience and he has recently retired, but he's still available to us as a consultant and he will continue to be engaged as needed. Dan is, he brings many years of experience, over 37 years of experience in education, public sector, from Chicago, working at large firms like Gensler and HLK. And for the day-to-day, our project team consists of Arthur Waltrus. He has a home on the Big Island in Volcano that he designed and managed the construction of himself. So he's very familiar with the island. And he also has a lot of experience on education projects. I'm Ina Wong, I'm the project designer. I have been with AHL for, I think, 12 years now, and have experience in civic projects, education projects. I worked on the Queen Emma Preschool Master Plan for St. Andrew's Priory, and also currently working on some DOE projects, including a Black Box Theater on Maui. And we're also working with Le Jardin Academy on an Arts and Innovation Center. And then we have Sarah Belzak, who's our senior interior designer. She has been involved in almost all of our education interiors. And I'm gonna show some slides after this of projects that she's been a part of. On the consultant side, our civil engineering team is Arm Towel, a structural engineer Allison Ide, mechanical engineers MEH, mechanical engineers of Hawaii, and then on electrical side, we have ECS. For landscape, we have Key Concepts. They also have an office on the Big Island. And then cost estimating, we have RLB, Greater Lubbock Bucknell. These are some of the projects that we've done that we believe are relevant to this project. Currently, I'm working on the USGS Hawaii Volcano Observatory and there's another larger research facility that's at UH campus. I'm the designer for those two projects. And Sarah has designed she worked on the North Hawaii Community Hospital and the Kamehameha Schools Learning Center. Some images of the projects I described earlier. This is the Learning Center for Kamehameha Schools. The second one is the St. Andrew's Queen Emma Preschool and Master Plan. And then some other preschool projects we've done is the Kroc Center renovation. And another education project we did actually with Allison Ide is the Pro Bono project where we converted a underused storage building into an art classroom. So this is an overview of the project. Our plan is based on a proposal for the preschool that was developed originally by Kamehameha Schools. And the program consisted of one building each for 3-year-old and 4-year-olds with meeting rooms and offices. There's a central courtyard, parking is required by code, and administrative space. So this outlines the whole design process. We'll start off with a master plan concept design and move on to a schematic design phase, which is about 8 weeks, and a design development phase where we take the schematic design and we develop the set of drawings. And then the construction documents, which are really the working drawings that the contractor will be building off of, that takes about 24 weeks. And then we'll be submitting that to permitting. And permitting is taking around 1 year right now. During that time, towards the end of that process, there'll be a bidding period where a contractor will be selected. And then the construction is anticipated to last about a year. So the overall project duration is anticipated to take 3 years. Going back to the conceptual master plan, and sorry, excuse me, I'm in the middle of dealing with a terrible cold, so excuse me if I sound a bit congested. Parcel A is the preschool site. It's directly adjacent to the recently completed community center complex. And our proposal is to break up the construction into two phases. We have the parking lot, which is with great access to the main road and also connects to the Ōpua Community Center. And in the first phase, we're proposing to construct 2 out of the 3 3-year-old classrooms and 2 out of the 3 4-year-old classrooms. We've located the administrative building front and center so that it can be the front door of the project, easy access for pickup and drop off, and also the admin office has visibility to all of the classrooms. We provided playgrounds, separate playgrounds for the 2 different age groups. And then in between the 3-year-old and 4-year-old classrooms, there's a great lawn where the kids can run around and learn outdoors. And then in phase 2, we're proposing an open air pavilion to provide shaded space for outdoor learning, and then additional 3- and 4-year-old classrooms. And also space allocated on site for any vegetable gardens that the school would build. We provided this rough order of magnitude budget. It's broken up into different categories from site work, which is this estimate here, and then the classrooms, which were each classroom is going to be around 1,000 square feet, and we're estimating that the construction cost is $850 a square foot. So all of that brings us to our phase one. Our funding request for phase one is $8 million. And we have built in a 5% per year escalation cost. So you'll see that because phase one is anticipated to take 3 years, those are the numbers here. And then phase two is anticipated to come in years 4 and 5. And that is expected to cost an additional $4,730,000 for a total project budget of $12,730,000. So one of our models is good design solves a problem and great design tells a story. We believe that our team has the right education experience. We have the right process and approach to help you guys craft a story. Whenever we start a new project, we always start with the place, and we like to engage people in the community so that you can help us to craft that unique story. Our job is to create and deliver a project that the community is proud of. Other examples of how AHL has been serving the community, we have a 1% program where we dedicate 1% of our work effort to community projects, and these are some of the projects we've contributed to in the past. And these are some of the nonprofit organizations that we support. We also believe in designing sustainability, and we always integrate passive strategies into the design to make sure we're taking care of the land. And that concludes our portion of the presentation, and we can open it up to any questions and discussion that you might
Mahalo,
have.
Ina. You can go ahead and stop share screening. Uncle Bo, you had your hand up.
Yes, thank you. I just want to add a few comments to Ina's report. First off, I think she mentioned that we will be doing outreach and community consultation throughout this process, not just with our community stakeholders, but with our charter school partner. And we hope to secure a charter school partner real soon, as required by the Lieutenant Governor. I will say this, AHL and Ōpua CDC about a month ago met with the Lieutenant Governor in our office, and through that meeting we have a $8 million commitment from her reserve funding to move this initiative forward. This is why I think it's urgent for our community to come together, holomua, and make this a possibility, because we're not going to get another opportunity like this to seek the kind of funding to develop a world-class preschool for our Kamali.
Uncle Bo, if you don't mind, what you're sharing right now actually pertains to a couple of the questions and comments that we have in the chat.
Okay. Okay.
If I'd like to read all the similar ones out loud, and then maybe you can answer them in one
I'd be glad.
at one
I'd
time.
be glad.
Okay. I'm gonna start with in the question comment pane. And before I totally dive into that, I know that there are a handful of folks who joined during the presentation. So mahalo to everyone who's on with us. If you could possibly open the chat box and use the chat box as a virtual sign in. We would appreciate it if you could share your first and last name and self-identify as if you're a DHHL beneficiary. So please share if you're a lessee, an applicant, both, or other. Perhaps if you're wearing multiple hats this evening and you want to share other affiliations, please do so in the chat box. We have the question and answer pane enabled on here. And so you're welcome to put your questions or comments in the question and answer pane. We've had 2 of them in there so far. I'll be jumping back and forth between the chat and the question and answer for anyone who's dropping comments in there. So Uncle Bo, couple comments that are in here.
Mhm.
So there was a question in here from Cindy Freitas. My understanding, and I'm going to read a couple, sorry. So my understanding is there will be more than one preschool in the Kealakehe area. The initial response to that, I responded that Kealakehe High School is going to be offering a Head Start program, which is like a preschool program. There are income limitations on that. So you have to meet the income limits, be within certain income limitations for the area in order for your children to be eligible to go to the Head Start program. Also, mahalo to Kavehi Inaba, who also commented, Ōpua 2020 or L 2020 is planning a preschool at its current site. They're going to be partnering with HCC Palamanui, and this will be a preschool / workforce development training program.
Great.
And then in the chat box, Cindy also said, she mentioned, I understand Ōpua 2020 is planning a preschool, and there's going to be a preschool at Kealakehe High School, which Lieutenant Governor Sylvia Luke will be supporting. This means that the LCDC preschool, with the LCDC preschool, there will be 3 preschools within an 1/8 of a mile of each other. Why should DHHL waste 2 acres of prime land on preschool when there are already 2 preschools planned within the same vicinity? If you want to address that.
Sure. Years ago, in fact, I think I spoke to Kavehi Inaba. She knew that the site was dedicated to the preschool. And then at that time, we had requested to partner with Kavehi and that we would go and partner to build the preschool together. But she said that we would have to go to the department. And so we took that as an opportunity. We went to the department, submitted our right of entry. We had made numerous reports to our community that we were seeking preschool funding, that we were going to do the preschool here. We mapped this out on our newsletters, and I'm surprised that there is another preschool in the high school because this is the first time I've learned of it. But having said that, I think the more opportunities we can serve our kamali'i, mai kai. It's the way in which we can maybe build consensus about how do we reach our kamali'i? How do we do this by means by which we can achieve the greatest good and reach the highest goal? So yeah, I welcome, I think, these opportunities that were brought forward by L 2020 at the high school. If they're doing it there, all I can tell you is Architects Hawaii Limited, their executive and myself sat down with the governor, lieutenant governor, and she made an $8 million commitment to this project. Early on, you heard about the phase plan. Phase one is about $8 million. We plan to make that happen. So, but given these circumstances, I welcome all the opportunity we can bring for our community and our surrounding communities. We're not the only Hawaiians in Homestead that's going to go and take up these opportunities. There are other Native Hawaiians in the low affordable housing complexes all around Kona. Other Hawaiians that are living off the homestead. Those Hawaiians that live, in rental units. So we welcome this, the greatest opportunity, I would say. So I thank you for that.
Mahalo, Uncle Bo. I had a question and comment from Pohai Kirkland. Pohai asks, are we moving forward on this project because the funding is there or the need is there? She also said education is never a waste.
Like both the need and the funding is there. So I believe there's going to be a greater need. When you look at the planned growth for Ōpua 2020, Ōpua Villages of Ōpua Homesteaders Association. We recently made an acquisition for water source in which it'll provide more housing opportunity in Ōpua. And I think given Act 279 and some of the discussions that was within the commission lately, there are approximately Village 1 and Village 2, somewhere about 400 homes coming up. So as we bring more homes, develop more homes, there's going to be a greater need. And quite frankly, when we first initiated the preschool some years ago, you couldn't get your kid into the preschool. There was a what do you call a wait list. Betty from the Kamehameha Schools at that time was a good friend, and we tried to follow that I guess problem, because many of our communities were overlooked because they couldn't get into a preschool. So this again is an opportunity for our kids. I'm hoping that we can take the next step. Thank you.
Thank you, Uncle Bo. I'm looking in the chat box and I wanted to just let folks know if you wanted to maybe not ask a question or provide a comment in the chat box, but you wanted to speak, you are able to do so. Please raise your hand and I will call on you. I did want to address another comment in the chat box. Cindy Freitas said, Bo was the one that promised the park years ago. He should be specifically asked why he's moving forward on a preschool instead of the park he promised the people of Ōpua. I'd like to answer that actually. So DHHL received a land use request for the park. We have actually received multiple land use requests for the park space that is joins Village 3 and Village 4. And the real bottom line for the park space right now is that none of the land use requests have been able to move forward because we don't have water source. To be frank, we don't have any water credits after the current Village 4 development is completed. That will exhaust all of the department's water credits, which is why the department is moving forward with water source development in the North Kona region. The County of Hawaii Department of Water Supply has made it very clear to the department that in order for us to gain additional water credits to support our developments in North Kona on DHHL lands, it's our responsibility to create new water sources like groundwater wells, and the kuleana lies with the department to do that, which none of our lands currently overlie, good sources for groundwater wells. And we have looked to acquiring land. At the recent commission meeting, we discussed land acquisition in Holualoa, a property that is commonly referred to as the Gianulius site, which has been cited as a potentially great source for a groundwater well. Also additional sources more south, but also in the Kona region. And so that is a time consuming process, and we haven't been able to develop a park, even just kind of putting in grass or putting in a lua, a restroom, requires water. And so the department isn't able to move forward with those land use requests until we're able to get a little bit more progress on the water needs for the region. Andrew, feel free to chime in if you have other comments on that. I'm not seeing any additional comments in the meeting chat or in the question answer pane. If anyone has any comments or questions, you're welcome to unmute and ask your comment or question at this time. Go ahead, Uncle Bo.
Yeah, Kalamai, I think it's important to people understand that Ōpua CDC, we worked hard to bring water to the projects. And it wasn't just projects for Ōpua CDC. It's projects for the greater good of the department. Because the department didn't have water. The Gianulius project started almost 10 years ago. And it's just since the last commission hearing did the Hawaiian Homes Commission decide to acquire that property. And we, Andrew, you can speak to that, but it's the pivotal point now in which we can meet, I think, the broader goals of our community needs and our community facilities. The park, more homes, a preschool, a commercial center. It goes on. So the water was a critical, pivotal moment now in which we can make more things happen for our community. So thank you, the department, for making that happen. I know it's been a long time working on that project, as I've been on that project from day one. So thank the department. I appreciate it. Mahalo.
Thank you, Uncle Bo. There's a question about if you folks have by chance calculated the water needs for the preschool.
I can answer that. The preschool has water. It has 32 units that was dedicated to Kamehameha schools to build the preschool in 2011. I have the memo from the water department that dedicates the water. I think this was one of the reasons why the lieutenant governor felt compelled, says, whoa, you got water to do this. Yeah, we got water to do this. Unlike other projects that the department is embarked on. Its housing plan is to be stifled because of the lack of water credits, but I'm glad that we were able to discover that. Thank you.
Just to clarify that comment, during the Michael Kane administration, the department at the time had worked with the Department of Water Supply to get and confirm water credits for the particular parcel that LCDC is requesting from the department. So that particular parcel, because of the work that the department did back almost 15 years ago, has assigned water credits to it because the department confirmed with DWS that there was water available at that time. there were other comments in the chat related to looking at utilizing some of these lands for Hawaiian gardens. The person just came back from Molokai and looked at and was inspired by her visit on Molokai and looking at the parcels. So I guess, is there an opportunity to incorporate Hawaiian gardens, that type of concept into the preschool site?
Ina, I think Ina would be best to, I think there is a garden.
Yeah, there is space for a garden to be for the preschool. Whether or not it's open to public use, I think that's more of a community decision.
Mahalo, Ina. Auntie Claire, I see that you have unmuted. I also noticed your comment in the chat box, so I just wanted to clarify real quickly. So I saw that you mentioned you'd like to talk about water, if okay. So I think we can definitely fall down the rabbit hole of DHHL and water related things. So my only ask is that we try to keep the water specific to this preschool and this region. And the preschool development, since this land use request for the preschool is the main reason why folks have joined us for the beneficiary consultation. Kalamai, go ahead, Auntie Claire.
Well, I've been, with water, I don't just work here. I work all the way, from in major third world countries. And the water issue is something that's really important because I realized that a quarter of all the babies I was helping be born in Haiti, that's Haiti, were dying from water. So the planet, so I work with, as a healthcare practitioner, I work with health departments on this, but also with the Keho Aquifer, when we were looking at all the water, and I worked down there at Koloko too. It's my Ōpua to Koloko Hale, Honokahaike, right above you guys. But the water being used even within Hawaiian homelands, I mean, from hoses to sinks that can be purified, that can be coming out, water catchment tanks, because looking at also, and I would hope that as Hawaiian people, that you guys would also be looking at just the waste of water. I mean, we fought hard for Kohanaiki, for example, and that was, the most invite, provide the brackish water than in any island. And, with the development, it leaves, but building gardens and encouraging and the trees, it brings it back. When you look at the Kona field system, which I worked with, at the emergent school for a long time, and I studied, it too, it's like, I saw that when I was on Molokai, that, I could see just where the kukui trees were, that because those leaves would go kalo, and so you can really go a long ways with a little bit of water and enhance that whole area. And if you, I know this is for this project, but if you look at and you decide that whether everybody, if you decide that, well, we could use it for, all of the kids in Keiki and the families. I mean, I would hope that that's where people could learn from this. But so there are lots of ways. I live on catchment. I'm just right above you guys. So it's also, it's a lot of education in what vai and kai are, and how precious it is and how much we don't just turn on a faucet and let it go, And so I think that you could, do it right there. I think you could have your gardens and even if it turns into using more land, because you can have, you guys rethink, these other questions about the other schools or how many kids, or you don't need so much, that you would go to that. So anyway, there's a lot of great people that have worked. Loke is an amazing, she did her whole master's and put thing on that's Aloha, Ruth. And what they've been doing at Koloko is really impressive, because I work with them too, and I'm just amazed with all of them, because so we have some really good heads that could come in, and I'm just wanted to share that.
Mahalo nui.
Mahalo for letting me speak.
Yes, thank you so much. So Uncle Bo, I think for you and for your team, at AHL. I think it would be great if you folks can look at kind of incorporating water conservation measures and looking at sustainable ways for designing the preschool and for designing the gardens.
And
Yeah,
Oh, sorry, Auntie Claire, you're muted. If you want to unmute, sorry about that.
and demanding that the water should be going to you guys instead of another golf course, you know, right down the road from you. You know what I'm saying? Because there's a lot of politics in this and a lot of money in it. And you guys should be, it's your land and it's your water. That's my 2 cents.
Mahalo.
I'd like to respond to a couple questions I see in the chat box. One was, does the water usage differ from the park or the preschool? Trying to secure water credits was something that I was pushing in order to move forward. I've been on the water project for anywhere from 8 to 10 years. I've been pushing water for housing primarily, but we needed water for our other community projects. So it made sense for Ōpua CDC at the time to continue our effort to work the water and work the project. So, and we're getting a water from the water source up at the 1,500-foot elevation. And we're I don't know, 1,500 feet away from the current county water source. So we know that the water is there. I wanted to, do we need the 32 water credits? I don't believe so, but it's gonna take, Architects Hawaii Limited is a lead organization. You know, they design using environmental design approaches. So and I think, Ina can speak to that just briefly, but as a lead designer, they take all of these opportunities to conserve the water that we will be using. Ina?
Yeah, there's different things that we can do. We can incorporate a catchment system so that we can tie the rainwater into irrigation. We can look at ways to reuse gray water. Of course, the different counties have different rules that we have to follow, but we always try to investigate all these different possibilities.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Wow. Andrew?
I just wanted to address Julie's question. Does the water usage differ from the park versus the preschool? I think what we're hearing through these comments and questions about water is that I think before the department takes recommendation to the commission for a long-term disposition with LCDC, we will sit down with LCDC and its consultants to figure out what their estimated water demand will be in the future. And looking at Cindy's comment or question below is if there's leftover water credit, if they don't need all 32 water credits, can some of it be used for the park? I think that's an excellent question. So we have to sit down with LCDC to figure out what the estimated water demand will be, and if there will be excess water to be potentially transferred to the park area. Then we would have to work with the Department of Water Supply to see if, in fact, we can transfer some of the water credit from one parcel to another parcel if there's excess.
Mahalo, Andrew.
If I
Go
might
ahead, Uncle
respond,
Bo.
just
Sure.
to respond to Andrew's comment, I don't believe we're going to need the 32 water credits. That was extremely high based upon the number. See, the water usage is based on personnel and a number of faucets and facilities that you're going to create inside the units. And quite honestly, 32 water credits is a lot. But what we're going to do is design the facility to use as less water as we can. So the additional water units can be used for our park, can be used for our home, can be used for other opportunities, I think, that can help the department move its initiative forward. So, you know, we're all on board on this for a number of reasons. We're not just wanting to do the preschool. We want to do the park. We want to do housing. We want to do, Ōpua CDC is grounded in making sure that we have a comprehensive community, you know, complex community center, community housing plan. Thank you.
I wanted to add to that, we'll certainly be working with our landscape architect to make sure that we're using drought resistant native vegetation, that that green area you saw in the middle isn't necessarily grass that needs to be watered. It could be turf. We definitely want to conserve water for where it's needed.
Thank you, Ina.
Mahalo, Ina. I wanted to kind of do a last call for folks. If anybody would like to ask any questions or share any mana'o, now is the time. You're welcome to unmute and I can call on you folks. You're also welcome to drop a question or comment into the chat box or into the question and answer pane. Okay, we have a question from Emma Gilman. Have you consulted with anyone in the early childhood field? There's a shortage of qualified teachers in our current school system. More schools open, how will they be sure to fill these positions with qualified early childhood education providers?
If I might answer that question, I think early on you heard about 2020 working with Palamanui in trying to build those capacities for preschools, for the native language speakers. So I commend 2020 in reaching out to the college to pursue and meet that maybe possible huge demand for native speakers to come into our preschools and maybe into our regular schools, as this will become a real big topic coming up in the near future. Thank you.
Okay, I'm gonna jump to, oh, there's another comment in the chat box, again from Auntie Claire. I'd hope that 1 acre parcels would be given to Hawaiians and this project could help folks get back to their traditional ways, grow their food and become sustainable. Mahalo.
Wow.
I'm going to share screen real quick, just on my very last slide. Wanted to talk about, sorry, let me expand this just a little bit and zoom in. So next steps, following this beneficiary consultation, we have a 30-day comment period. So today is January 31st. That comment period will go until February 29th. Comments may be emailed to dhl.planning@hawaii.gov. I have just put that into the chat box. Following the comment period, all of the comments and mana'o shared during this meeting and any subsequent comments that we receive, the department receives about this land use request will be compiled in a beneficiary consultation report, and that will be brought to the Hawaiian Homes Commission for acceptance. And then Ōpua Community Development Corp will need to seek commission approval for their land use requests. So that would entail going before the commission and will be agendized, and there will be more opportunities for beneficiaries to weigh in, provide their mana'o to the commissioners. We do encourage folks to please share the link to our project website and also share this email. I'll drop into the chat box the project website, and folks will be able to watch the meeting recording. So we'll try to get that posted by the end of the week. So anyone who wasn't able to attend, they can watch the presentation and see all of the discussion in the comments, and be able to, you know, provide their own comments on the proposed project. Okay. Not seeing any other comments in the chat box or the question box. I think it's 7:06 right now. Mahalo to everyone for your time this evening. I think we can go ahead and close a little bit early. Thank you folks again for joining us. If you have any last mana'o, feel free to drop into the comment box or also send an email to dhgl.planning@hawaii.gov. Thank you everybody for coming this evening. We appreciate your time. Mahalo, Uncle Bo and Ina and your team.
We want to also thank those participants that came here. We appreciate your manao, and I want to thank Ina, our consultant, for being here. Mahalo nui, Ina.
Mahalo.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.